Greetings 94th, this is Beaker 1-2, and this is the practical exercise of the overhead patterns that we just talked about. A little bit of an overview. So we talked about the different altitudes that you need to worry about. There's at least three: above ground level, mean sea level, and traffic pattern altitude. So as you can see, right now, if you look over in the upper left-hand corner, my altitude already says that I am 202 feet off the ground. Well, that's in mean sea level, so MSL. So that's important for us because we need to be 800 feet above that for our TPA, traffic pattern altitude. So, in a sense, I'm going to be 800 feet off the ground, at least for this demonstration, and that'll be our traffic pattern altitude, stated as 1,000 feet on the actual altimeter. So, basically, you'll see later also to my right is where the actual landing strip is. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use this big wide open field area. That's what it's here for. It's also easier to do. And we'll demonstrate all that fancy stuff here also. So basically, what I'm going to be doing first is we're on the ground, so we need to do an entire pattern first. So we'll be climbing after takeoff until we level off at 1,000 feet, and we'll be clearing the aircraft as well. Prior to that, gear, flaps. I just set the flaps to take off, which is what you should do. And then we'll be level off. We'll be at 80% thrust, in which we'll go ahead and execute our closed turn, nice leisurely turn over to the right. So this is our right-hand traffic pattern, and then we'll appear on downwind. Downwind, basically you just screw around until you want to configure. Kind of depends, but you want to get in your half-mile spacing or whatnot, or spaced enough to make it safe. In game, I said that's really hard. Now I'll try to demonstrate from the cockpit view what that would look like that I'm used to seeing from actually flying airplanes. And then we'll be configured for landing prior to the end of the downwind leg, where we come to the perch. The perch is basically where you throttle back, you start doing a slow descent, nice gentle turn onto the final approach, where you do your landing and then you take off again. So we'll do that. We'll do one full pattern, and then what I'll do is I'll take off again, and then I'll come out. I'm gonna exit the pattern to the left, because you don't want to come in and screw everyone's pattern up or staying in the pattern, because I intend to leave. And then I will show you what initial would look like and the brake turn and how that fits into your normal traffic pattern. So enough with the ground school crap. We just did all that, so I'm going to get straight to the show here. So flaps are at takeoff, and I'm going to throttle up with this beautiful BF 109. So I'm taking off. Make sure our speed's up. I usually take off about 110. So get the gear up, clean up the aircraft, and off we go. Nice, beautiful day. Alright, so about 300 to go, and basically we're going to level off. So we're at the tail end now, about the upwind portion. So I'm going to throttle back to 80% thrust. I'm extending my upwind a little bit just to show you guys and making sure I'm doing it right. And then I'm going to go in my nice leisurely turn for my closed turn. As you can see, what we normally do as pilots is try to do the... we can't always see based on our altitude and everything, but what you can see here, it's half ground, half sky, looking past the cockpit view here. Now, I'll do cockpit view a little bit later, but that's about what your turn should look like. It's about half ground, half sky. So there's the airfield again. I turned in a little bit too much, but as you can see, I'm on the downwind now. Looking in the cockpit view, what I talked about earlier about the looking off the wing, looks like the airstrip is about to the far edge of the German cross there off my wing, which is about what I want, and that's about our half nautical mile distance. This is what it would normally look like from an airplane. But because this is War Thunder and I suck, I'm going to do it from the third person view because that's how I normally land. So when our downwind, I need to throttle down and configure the aircraft. So the nose is going to come down a little bit. I'm way past my perch actually, so this is going to be a long entry. And then I'd go ahead and do my nice descent from the perch and the base turn. Base turns are going to be a little bit less. It's going to be 2/3 ground, 1/3 sky about as we do our nice leisurely turn for the approach. I've got about 50% throttle or so here. Like I said, it varies. So hey, we're just about lined up exactly. This is about, let's say, 3/4 of a mile entry. So we're a little bit long, but I was talking a lot. So essentially, your brake, sorry, not your brake, but your entire traffic pattern ought to be a little bit shorter. It's a very quick procedure, very fast, very precise. So I'm just going to come in right over these, in between these trees, kind of here over the tents. If they didn't have all these lousy trees in my way, it'd be a lot easier. I'm going to throttle back all the way down. And actually the threshold's just past these tents here. So I'm going to... Oop, very hard landing. Oops. Alright, not bad. So I'm going to flaps to take off, and I'm going to go ahead and go forward again. So as you can see, I need a little bit more practice. A pretty hard landing there. So clean up the aircraft after I have climbing flight here, and I'm going to turn to the left now and actually exit the traffic pattern like you would if you were flying somewhere else. And I will demonstrate the initial. So, not bad for my first attempt. I did practice a little bit prior to this video because I didn't want to look like an idiot while doing it. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult. Not too bad once you get some practice in. So I would be doing my closed turn right about now, but I'm going to go ahead and turn to the left in about the same distance, and we'll do what we would do on the initial. So also, if you have any questions about this video, or basically just aviation stuff in general, I'll try to help you out. I am by no means an expert, but me and my buddies, especially a lot of guys in the squadron, some of us are actually pilots in the real world, so we do this as a job. And so we kind of know what we're talking about, at least I hope we would, with all the training we've gone through. For the squadron, we won't have to do this for the squadron. This is just kind of a cool thing to do on your free time, or something if you're interested in, basically like that. We could do it in-game, in-fight, but it takes a lot more coordination, and it's kind of, honestly, larger pain in the ass than it really needs to be. But your overhead pattern and your straight-in approaches, straight-in is the most efficient, especially for this game, especially when you're injured or damaged. That's when you want to use those. So I'm going to come out a little ways. I want to make sure I come in on initial just about right. I'm about 100 feet high, but that's not a huge concern. It's actually a lot harder to keep your altitude the way you want it in War Thunder than it is in flying a real plane, honestly. And then I'm going to come on in. So 1,000 feet is the traffic pattern altitude, so we want to be sure we're about right there. Our throttle is 80%, which is what we want. And then when we come into initial, basically we're going to go halfway down the strip there. We're going to throttle back. We're going to do our brake turn, which is going to put us on downwind. And then we're going to come in for a landing. It's actually quite a bit faster than the actual pattern as well. And keep in mind, this is a BF 109, so it's kind of fast. When I did this for flight school, the aircraft I flew was quite a lot slower. So would you normally do this? It's pretty quick. So we're on initial right here actually. People below us would be doing their final approach. So we're going to come about halfway down, or about as best as we can describe. The map will help you quite a bit. So I'm about midfield right now. I'm throttling back, and I'm going to do my brake turn. Nice leisurely turn. And we're doing the brake turn, so people taking off in front of us do not hit us. So I'm actually losing a little bit of altitude here. You want to try to maintain your 1,000 feet when you're doing this. We'll throttle up a little bit. And I'm going to configure the aircraft for landing. So there you go. I'm a little bit closer than half nautical mile. That happens on brake turns, and it's usually kind of hard to do in the game. Okay, I'm about 75% throttle right now. I'm configured, and I'm about my perch point. So I'm going to go ahead and do my base turn. I'm going to throttle back. Nice leisurely turn. 2/3 ground, 1/3 sky about. And a lot easier to do in an actual airplane because you could see out the window, whereas not so much here. And then here I am, right on final approach here. So I'm going to get past all these damn trees, and then I'll go ahead and throttle back to a coast, and then we'll land. Okay, so I brought my throttle back, just coasting on down here. Try to flare a little bit better this time. Alright, not bad. Apply your brakes. Oh, bummer. Yeah, I've had problems with that so far in the BF 109 actually. It does like to tip over. Be easy on the brakes. Anyway, aside from that, everybody, that is how you do a overhead pattern for the military anyway. So basically we just did the entire pattern, and a nice successful landing, took off again for touch and go, and then we did a initial approach. Came in, did our brake turn in the brake zone, and it came in for landing off of the base turn and the perch there. Would have been perfect had I had a little less brake there, but as you can see, I'm all set and ready to go again. So that's it for me here, the practical exercise of all of the things we just talked about, the overhead pattern, and if you guys have any questions, let me know. And that's it for this video. I'll see you guys later.